Good morning, Professor. Warm greetings from my end. My name is Akanksha Jetli and my student ID is 100837940. Today I'm going to present my assignment number 4, which is about producing visualization on the topic Labor Force Estimates by Immigration. Let's have a quick overview about the topic and the data set. As we all know that labor migration is becoming a more essential policy issue in today's globalized society. Economic hardship and geopolitical problems that result in a lack of adequate work are causing migrant movements to expand and diversify. Aging population and shrinking labor forces are also contributing to the increased worker mobility in many nations, particularly the emerging economies. The dataset for this assignment was gathered from the domain data.ontario, which is a home to the world's largest collaborative data community, which is flexible and accessible to the general populace. As you can see that this is the snip of our dataset that we have evaluated for the following assignment. The analysis will focus on an Excel spreadsheet with 1,048,575 rows and 18 columns and falls into the category of labor, training, and skill development. The dataset gives us the information about male, female, or both sexes Canadian immigrants with different age groups that have completed all or different level of education. Data analysis process. In step number 1, we define our question or the problem. In step number 2, we collect the data set. In step number 3, we clean the data. In step number 4, we analyze the cleansed data. And in step number 5, we visualize and share our feelings. Step 1. Defining the questions. This is the set of questions that we would be discussing throughout the PPT. In which month immigrants of both the sexes had the highest level of degree? What percentage of the gender has the knowledge of personal and social education? What is the employment rate in Ontario for immigrants between the age of 25 to 64? What is the total number of immigrants in Vancouver with bachelor's degree of age above 25 years? Step number 2. Collection of data. Data collection is the process of gathering and measuring data, information, or any variables of interest in the standardized and established manner. The education.csv was collected from the below mentioned website. Data cleaning. After collecting the data, the major step is data cleaning. Data cleaning is the process of ensuring that whether our data is correct, consistent, and usable. We can clean our data by identifying the errors or corruptions, correct and delete them, or manually process the data as need to prevent the errors from occurring. Changing the data types from categorical to numerical and vice versa, filtering some rows and columns, dropping the null values from the dataset are some of the steps for data cleaning. Let's just directly jump into the data visualizations graphs. The first visualization that I have generated is a donut chart, which is a variant of the pie chart with a hole in its center. This chart is used to show the immigrants with personal, social, and education or no personal and social education separated by different kind of sexes. As we can see that in this donut chart, more than half of the chart is being covered by both sexes and an equal amount is covered by male and female sexes. In the center of the donut chart, we can see a card which represents the sum or the total education level with a weightage of about 64.11 million. The next is a multiple line sheet. It shows the relationship between the independent and the dependent values of a multiple set of data. It basically shows the trend over time by comparing it with different kind of variables. Here I have taken 4 different kind of degrees separated by the month. As we can see that post-secondary certificate or diploma was highest till the month of June but declined in the month of July and was consistent till the month of December, we can say. And I'll say that without high school graduation was the least throughout the year but was the most consistent one. The next is a clustered column chart, which basically uses the bars to show the comparison between the categories of data. On the y-axis, I have taken post-secondary certificate or diploma. On the x-axis, I have taken different kinds of immigrants. The bars over here shows different kinds of sexes. As we can see that total number of immigrants with both sexes was highest and there was a very slight or minor difference in the count of male and female. If we go on the extreme right, we can see that very recent immigrants or immigrants with 5 years or less have the least amount of post-secondary certificates. This black dotted line over here represents the average line. A table represents a grid with different kinds of rows and columns. In this, we have taken province, sex, and 4 different kind of degrees. The first one is our header. The one in the bottom gives us the total number of values or the sum for all the total number of values. The next is a tree map, which here represents the total education level of qualification amongst the number of males, females, or both kind of sex immigrants. As we can see that population is the section that covers the maximum or the highest amount of education level. And on the extreme right, we can see the section employer rate that has the lowest amount of section covered by the sex statistics. Next is the 100% stacked bar chart, which basically used to display relative percentage of multiple data series in stacked bars, where the total of each stack bar gives us an equivalent of 100% value. On the y-axis, I have taken the characteristics, and on the x-axis, I have taken the percentage of 4 different kind of degrees, and over here the red line represents the constant line. The left portion of the line gives us the positive inference, and on the right section we can see the negative inference, where the unemployment rate goes down to the negative line. Our last visualization is the pie chart. As we can see that Vancouver is covering more portion of the chart than Ontario. Here the distribution is being performed between 3 different kind of degrees separated by province. This is my static dashboard. As you can see that when we click over here, there is no as such interaction. This is page number 1. This is page number 2. This is the visual of my dynamic dashboard. The dashboard in total consists of 7 charts, 3 cards and 4 slides. These are the 2 cards. One shows the population of total education level of all the immigrants, and the second card shows the population of immigrants with no degree, certificates or diplomas. We have a slicer on the top of the page which shows the number of months. We can select all of the months, or we can even go for any specific month for in-depth visualization. This is over here is our second slicer. We can go for select all gender, or we can even go for a specific kind of a gender. This over here is a donut chart. So if we want to see that say throughout the month, what is the percentage of all the genders that had knowledge about the personal and social education or no knowledge, we can see that majority of the donut chart is being covered by both sexes, and 27.48% had knowledge about PSC, and 22.87% of immigrants were there who had no knowledge about PSC. For male, we can see that 13.48% had PSC knowledge and 11.65% had no PSC knowledge. For female also, we can infer that 13.06% had knowledge about PSC and 11.46% had no knowledge about PSC. Now, moving further, we have this clustered column chart. If we want to see, let's say, for a specific month of April, how much male had post-secondary certificate or diploma, we can clearly see that total immigrants had a population for about 2.2 million. And if we move to our extreme right, we can see that immigrants that have recently immigrated have a population for about minus 0.1 million. Now the next is our line chart. If we want to see it amongst all the months for both the sexes, month has the highest level of degree, so we can infer that for post-secondary certificate or diploma, March and June has an equivalent, almost equivalent amount of immigrants pursuing this degree. Let's move to our page number 2. Over here, we can see that we are having 2 kinds of slicers. One is age and the second one is province. This is a tree map over here. If we want to infer, let's say, for the province of Ontario, if we want to see that age between 25 to, let's say, 64, if we want to see the employment for total education level of people by their sexes, we can see that this much amount of people were employed of both sexes. For males, it was this much amount, and for females, it was this much amount. Next is our 100% clustered column. Let's take this time Vancouver maybe, and for age, let's say 25 years plus. Okay, we can see, let's say, for unemployment level, after doing or completing university degree, about 24.58% people were still unemployed. After post-secondary certificate or diploma, 31.58% were still unemployed. After bachelor's, 16.1717, and after with high school graduation degree, around 27.66% people were still unemployed. From here itself, if we move to the table chart, we can see that for bachelor's, around this much number of female were unemployed, for this much were males were unemployed, for both sexes this much amount was unemployed, and this is total value that constitute to gives us a percentage about 16.17, and works similarly for other degrees. Now this is a pie chart. If we want to say, let's take Ontario again. If we want to see for 3 different kind of degrees in the province of Ontario, this is the percentage of the degrees. This brings to the end of our presentation and dashboard representation. This is the conclusion that we have gone through during the dashboard presentation. That's it, I guess. We are done. Thank you.